Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. Great to have you all with us for this session today, where we have a couple of presentations from a couple of leaders from pretty different states. But what they both have in common is that they're both leading the way when it comes to supporting communities with their infrastructure planning. So really looking forward today to bringing you the perspective from Alaska and Michigan on the statewide training that they've been rolling out for their communities to support them with their infrastructure planning, and that our team, icInfrastructure, have had the pleasure of supporting them with as they've built that out over the past few years. So in terms of who you'll hear from today, so I'm Rowan. I'm the project manager with icInfrastructure, and I help deliver the projects with both Alaska and Michigan, working with Erin and Nathan. We've got Iain Cranston, our CEO and founder. He'll be jumping on later on in the session to chair the Q&A period. From the Alaska Municipal League, we've got Erin Reinders, who's the deputy director. And from the Michigan Infrastructure Council, we've got Nathan Hamilton, who's the state administrative manager. And both Erin and Nathan play a pivotal role in driving and developing the training and resources and tools that their organizations provide to communities to support them with the infrastructure planning. And they have responsibilities outside of just training, but they drive a lot on the training front. So they're going to be talking through the different programs that their organizations have stood up to support communities. I'm just going to talk us through a quick welcome here, and then I'll be passing it over to Erin to start us off with a perspective from AML. So a little bit about us and our team. So icInfrastructure, we are all about training. So our mission is to deliver exceptional training experiences for public infrastructure owners, which catalyze positive change. And I think catalyze is one of the positive words, or one of the key words there, because it kind of speaks to how training can really kickstart a change that's greater than the sum of its parts. The sort of return you can get from investing in training and investing in people and their capacity and skills to work is really something that can actually drive change in a sustainable way. You know, it's not just kind of a one-off thing. When you invest in training people and training your workforce, that then changes the systems they're using, and that change is then sustainable and changes what's needed across many public infrastructure owning organizations right now. We've worked with communities across North America. We've done some one-on-one projects with communities, helping them stand up specific elements of their asset management programs. So helping them with an asset management plan or something like that. But more and more, we're doing work with regional groups, such as the two you're going to hear from today, to help them stand up regional, statewide, province-wide training programs to support their communities. And we've loved working in that area because I think it's a key area to be working in. So it might be preaching to the choir a little bit with some of the folks we have on the call today here, but just setting the stage for today's discussion, there is a bit of a perfect storm of challenges happening in the public infrastructure sector. So a lot of infrastructure is getting old on our watch. And the issue here is less that infrastructure is getting old. That's just a fact. That's a fact of reality. The problem is that we didn't set up our systems of government to manage the infrastructure over the full course of its life cycle. We didn't set local units of government up with the mechanisms and the ability to raise the revenue and plan for infrastructure over the full course of its life cycle. And it's now, a lot of it is all coming due on our watches. And that on its own would be a pretty big problem, because all of that aging infrastructure is pretty expensive. And filling that gap on its own would be pretty hard. But kind of adding to that and compounding that, we've got other challenges happening. So on the funding side, we've got the fact that the funding landscape at a federal, provincial, and state level is changing. There's, in some cases, less reliable access to funding from that level for communities to lean on to fund their infrastructure. And there's more of an expectation for local units to be doing more themselves. Also related to funding and costs is the rapid rise in costs we've seen. So we were already seeing inflation faster than other prices in the construction and infrastructure sector before COVID. But since COVID, that has really gone through the roof in terms of the costs that infrastructure owners are facing. So the gap between what we have for infrastructure and what we need has just grown because of that. Staffing is another big challenge in this sector. Lots of communities are facing a retirement wave, and the systems that have been used to manage infrastructure have not had a focus on capturing knowledge that these staff have and capturing the institutional knowledge. So as staff are heading out the door, they're taking a load of valuable knowledge about the infrastructure and the systems with them. And that's then setting organizations back on their progress. So investing in systems that do a better job of capturing staff knowledge and centralizing information are a priority. Community expectations. So in a sense, public in this sector would become a kind of a victim of our own success, where people just expect infrastructure to work. And in a way, they take it for granted when it is working, and they only see it when it breaks or when it fails. And they feel frustrated when they're having to pay for things without understanding the cost of it and better conversations around the value they're getting for the costs. So the real disconnect there on the community expectation side of things too. And then lastly, extreme weather. Communities across North America seeing an increase in the frequency and severity of different extreme weather events. And it's landing on local governments a lot of the time to deal with this. So they're being asked to, A, develop an understanding of this climate data. What does it mean for them at their level? How is their environment going to change? And then B, they need to find the money to make some of these investments in some infrastructure that's going to make them more resilient going forward. So some pretty big challenges here. There's some pretty ominous music playing in the background over the sector. And this stuff's been bubbling away for a while, but it's really coming to the forefront for a lot of communities where all these challenges are compounding and forming a bit of a perfect storm for everyone. And communities are going to need the knowledge and the skills and the tools to help deal with these challenges over the next few decades. And the change we're talking about here is pretty transformational. And that's why we're so invested in training, because training as a tool is what can help with that transformation of an organization. And we've got a few examples here of the kind of transformations that need to happen to address the challenges we just spoke about on the previous slide. So historically, there's been a focus on minimizing costs over the short run. How can we keep costs down? That has put us in the situation we're in now with infrastructure aging out on our watch, and it's not sustainable. We need to shift our focus to one on sustainable service delivery, so we can actually sustain these services that support communities and their quality of life. We need to move from ad hoc data collection on a project by project basis, or kind of as and when needed, to managing our data as an asset, collecting it, investing in managing it, and using it so that it's high quality data that is going to inform our planning and be accurate over the long run. And we need to shift from short-term budgeting over 1, 2, 4 year cycles to lifecycle-based planning, which reflects the nature of the infrastructure that we're responsible for managing. And we feel that consulting projects alone won't create these changes. There's absolutely value in the skills and knowledge that consulting firms bring for communities, and they're going to be a pivotal part of supporting communities with this transformation. But they won't, and they probably shouldn't, make this transformation, because this is up to communities. It's about how they want to transform their communities. They should have agency over the decisions and the conversations and the politics around making these transformations. So that's why training can be so key. And so why statewide training? Setting us up here to talk about Alaska and Michigan's statewide training program. Why is statewide training such a good investment to make? It comes back to thinking about the change we need and how we're gonna make it. And one model of change is the outcome model. And that essentially says you've got to hit people with a bit of the why before you hit them with the what. And they've got to understand the why, the reason for the change. And to do that, you need to cultivate some awareness, some desire. Then you can start to teach the skills and knowledge and invest in the kind of process side of things. And through standing up statewide training, Alaska and Michigan have sent some clear messages to people in terms of cultivating awareness and desire. They've clearly said this is a priority in our state. It's something we're investing in, we're investing time in it, we want communities to succeed in it and invest in it, and we're going to stand behind you in your efforts to do that. They've sent that clear signal. As other communities have come through the program, and particularly in Michigan, the amount of communities that have come through the program and been touched by the work has really surpassed our expectations, we think. They've seen there's kind of some of that healthy peer pressure developing, where they see, oh, other communities are doing this, I should be investing in this, or maybe I should nominate others for this. So you get that kind of culture of growing around recognizing the need for the training. And lastly, Alaska and Michigan fund this training, so it's then available for the learner for free. So there's no friction there for them to have to try and convince their boss or someone to sign off on getting into the training. It's fully frictionless, and they can just refer others, get more from the organization through the training, because for sure they can't do it on their own. And then they can then have that momentum, and it keeps it rolling for them. So a few kind of introductory points there around statewide training as an investment. We're really passionate about it. So with that, I'm delighted to pass it over to Erin to talk about the work in Alaska.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That was a great intro. And now my head is like, oh, I should say this, but I'm going to try to stick to the script. But so great to be here. My name is Erin Reinders. I'm the Deputy Director for the Alaska Municipal League. For those that have not heard of the Alaska Municipal League, we're a nonprofit, nonpartisan, statewide organization with 165 members who are cities and boroughs throughout the state. Boroughs are the county equivalent. And our organizational structure is really dedicated to teams responsible for municipal planning, capital improvement, community development, as well as, I think I just froze, but hopefully we're good. As well as strategic services like efforts focusing in on financial success, employee benefits, effective municipal operations through a lot of shared member services. So I oversee the kind of the planning and community development side of the house. So including energy, transportation and land use, and community resilience teams, as well as some kind of overarching initiatives that bring all of that together, like asset management training and supports around asset management. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about why asset management has become important to AML, how we started building this work, and where we're thinking of going next. So next slide, please. So I think we'll start here to kind of set the stage a little bit in terms of Alaska's state of infrastructure. So the American Society for Engineers released its report card for 2025, giving the overall grade of a C. Beyond that grade, there are some really good recommendations that come out of that report that would give us a higher grade. And so a few of those things are implementing long-term planning regulations for asset management, strengthening leadership, and really integrating some coordination at the state and local levels. So we're kind of starting to live into that a little bit. So I would say that the numbers on this screen really only tell kind of part of the story for Alaska. I think it's important to note as we think about our asset management program that Alaskan communities are dealing with a lot of logistical challenges. So long distance, harsh weather, really short construction seasons, and high costs associated with a lot of those components. Many of our communities are off the road systems, so the only way you can get supplies there that they need are on a plane, a barge, or a ship, and then that is all weather dependent and seasonal as well. So that kind of makes some of those construction seasons and time delays even more urgent. Our local governments throughout the state are responsible for a lot of different systems. So this can include water, wastewater, electricity, in addition to roads and their own facilities and equipments, but ports and harbors as well. So I think those are important considerations as we kind of explore what our program is and where we're hoping to take it. I would also say that when we talk about, with all of that in mind, I think when we're talking about asset management, we really are talking about using our resources wisely because of a lot of those constraints, in addition to the financial challenges and personnel challenges. And so what I always try to frame this as is we're not only, this all means that we're not really only talking about taking care of new facilities and new infrastructure, but also the infrastructure that we already have. So it's all of that, not just the new and shiny stuff. So next slide. So did also want to kind of frame this a little bit. This whole conversation became even more important at the beginning of a few years ago with a lot of investments that were coming into the state related to the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. It was at that point where our members really asked AML to do all that we could so that communities could really take full advantage of that, recognizing that there was so much need and we didn't really want to be competing against each other. So we really have been quite busy in that role. And this map is a good representation, and it shows all of the communities throughout the state that have been impacted by AML's assistance with grant writing, and project assistance, stipends, travel scholarship, and technical assistance, as well as those who are getting more and more involved with the asset management training. So I think this is important as we look at all of these communities throughout the state, that when we're talking about infrastructure, all of these awards creates a project that is a new asset in the community. So with every asset, those have to be operated and maintained, planned for, repaired, and eventually replaced. And I think we'll probably hear these reoccurring themes, but asset management really kind of helps these communities start to answer some basic questions, but really important questions like, what is it that we own? What condition is it in? What does it cost to maintain? How will it be replaced? And what do we need to plan for now so that it doesn't become an emergency later? So next slide, please. So from the beginning, AML has really tried to connect asset management into the bigger picture of community planning and infrastructure management. And also trying to connect it to the work that we're already doing. So that includes some planning support that we're beginning to provide, so with comprehensive plans, hazard mitigation plans, strategic plans, as well as capital improvement planning, which I think all ties in with this asset management effort. We have been doing a lot of grant writing support, helping communities find funds and apply for grants, as well as with reporting and compliance. It includes the financial support, investment tools, liquidity analysis, and some financial services, also some We've had some partners that are now helping to evaluate some cost of service to then help with some rate setting and folding that into, and that ties really closely together with a lot of the efforts that we've been doing in this asset management world. And then we're also really focusing in on just connecting and providing opportunities for that connection, like events like our annual conference. We have a statewide infrastructure symposium with a lot of different partners, as well as a rural energy conference. And I think this slide is important because it really shows how all of these efforts are connected. It's the planning that helps communities identify priorities. It's the grants that can help to fund some of those priorities. It's those financial tools that help communities start to identify what they can afford. And it's the asset management component that really helps to provide better information and understanding for making all of those decisions. So next slide, please. So then we started our journey with asset management and icInfrastructure in 2024 with phase 1. And really that was about developing the training to allow for Alaska's local governments and tribal governments to learn as much as we can together. And so we knew that communities were starting from all different spots in this asset management journey, and just really needed to acknowledge that and try to lay some groundwork for general understanding of what we're talking about here. So some already had inventories or planning tools. Others had very little formal asset information. And others were really just trying to keep up with daily operations. So it's important to understand that everybody's kind of coming at this from a different perspective and different point in the journey. So again, this phase 1, we were really focusing in on awareness, basic training, and some sort of shared language. So we had the first asset management online training course, just Asset Management 101, and a webinar series bringing people in just to kind of talk through, where they're at on their journey. That included just different communities throughout the state, but also some of our neighbors in Canada, so we can kind of learn from them. We have very similar challenges, so that we got really good feedback on that. And we also have regular infrastructure office hours, so icInfrastructure joined us on several of those. So far in that, we've had over 150 participants statewide, with some really good feedback. The rating of 9 out of 10 is the average learner rating. So I don't think we can ask for much more than that. I think one thing that I would point out here is a lot of the feedback that we've gotten is the value of really just kind of having some peer learning opportunities with some of this. People really appreciate hearing from communities and learning that they have similar challenges, that they're not alone in this whole process. And being reminded through those discussions and the courses that they don't necessarily need this like perfect data to get started. Like, they just kind of get started, and they can kind of learn from their friends and neighbors as they go. Next slide, please. So then we had year 2. So phase 2 is last year. We kind of started moving from this awareness discussion into more hands-on work. So we added a course, leveraging asset data course, to the online learning hub. Along with that came a couple of tools, so an asset registry tool and a forecasting the asset registry and forecasting tool, as well as a unit cost tool specifically related to water and wastewater, just to give folks something to start with if they really had no idea of the dollar amount value, especially in our more remote locations. We have quite the large and diverse geography, so and the costs can really vary. So we were trying to provide a good tool there. In addition to that, we also had a cohort learning experience that incorporated the Leveraging Asset Data online course, but then with some peer learning and individual coaching as folks really went and worked to develop that tool. And then they're able to kind of complete that whole process with something in hand that is actionable and meaningful for their communities. I think the key part to all of this is that for many communities, people will have information all over the place, or they won't have it, or or it'll be in people's minds. And so reports like the asset registry, which allows for us to identify what it is we have, the age, the condition, the location, that allows for us to put all of that useful information in one spot, so in a format so it can be shared amongst staff, elected officials, and community members at large. And with that, you can create kind of a state of infrastructure just snapshot, which you can kind of see on the screen right now. I think we'll go to the next slide. So this is, I think, my last slide, and this kind of captures some of the important lessons of this work. I think Heidi does a good job in kind of connecting a lot of the dots in this quote. So what is not in this quote, but I know what she has talked to me about, is that how asset management really had been on their minds, and her staff minds and the elected officials' minds for quite some time, but it really felt like this daunting effort, especially when you had limited staff or funding. And I think this is an important fact to just kind of state and acknowledge, and because I think that's where a lot of communities are coming from. But the important thing is that, and I think the key here is that it's really okay and important just to start somewhere, because once you start tracking your assets, even if it's a simple, spreadsheet, that information becomes more and more valuable for increasing trust within the community, and then also making informed decision making for the future. And prioritizing for the future and where you're going to place those investments. So this year we're starting into phase 3. I guess now, criminy, it's halfway through the year. So we are squarely in phase 3 now, really about helping communities keep moving forward from learning to really regular use. And so we are now offering another leveraging asset data cohort up to about 12 communities with the live sessions, the peer learning, and this one-on-one coaching. We are bringing 2 additional online courses into the Learning Hub. One is on risk management and one is on work management. So the goal here is to really start helping communities think about risk mitigation planning, maintenance systems, and how to track that work to really keep the infrastructure functioning. AML is also getting some strategic advice with icInfrastructure. As far as we kind of enter a discussion of how we can have kind of a shared GIS system for communities, perhaps offering some CMMS, the computerized maintenance. Now I'm going to butcher it. maintenance management system. I butchered that. Somebody else can chime in and tell me what it actually stands for. But that's part of the education, right? We're all learning together on this. But we're also folding in additional resources. I sort of mentioned earlier in the call about, that fold in some cost analysis so we can provide some timely rate setting guidance. There are systems in place that we're working with communities and partners on that. So I guess in summary, phase one, thank you, Nathan. Thank you. Appreciate it.
I got your back, Aaron.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate. So phase one was again about awareness. Phase two, we're kind of working with communities to start using their asset data. And then phase three, really taking that information and working with it to really improve overall operations and then in long-term decision making. So there was a lot there. Happy to chat more after we get to hear from all the amazing things that the state of Michigan is involved with, and looking forward to learning more about Michigan. So thank you so much.
Well, look, Aaron, let me say this. I learned a lot that's going on in Alaska, all the progress that's been made. Thank you very much for your presentation. I really appreciate that. I will say, I'm not particularly proud of this, is that I'm the jealous type, Aaron, and I did see that the overall grade for your infrastructure report is a C. And and you even mentioned that it might even be, it should be better than a C. And we were at I think our last infrastructure report card was like a C minus. So I might need to travel over to Alaska to see how it's done. But anywho, so I'm Nathan Hamilton, and I serve as the administrative manager for the Michigan Infrastructure Council. I lead our planning, our outreach, our education and training programs, and I've been in state government for more than a decade. After I hit 10 years, I stopped counting. But yeah, over a decade, I have a background in urban and regional studies, and it's really been an absolute pleasure to partner with icInfrastructure over the years to use training as a vehicle for expanding community capacity, and that's something that Rowan kind of talked about a little bit before about their passion for that. But also just accelerating the adoption of infrastructure asset management across Michigan communities and advancing our overall mission, which you can see before you at the bottom. And if you will just allow me to provide, I think some brief background would be helpful for me to speak to before moving forward. So, Ron, let's just hang out here on this slide for a moment. But the Michigan Infrastructure Council, also known as the MIC, is a bipartisan public-private body created by the Michigan legislature in 2018. And we're housed in the Department of Treasury specifically. And we were really formed in response to increasing infrastructure failures across the state. So Rowan already talked about kind of that, the perfect storm of aging infrastructure funding. I mean, all these different things that was on the slide there. And after years of outreach and research and a commission and a pilot, we identified proactive infrastructure asset management as a key practice to help mitigate future failures and support long-term health of Michigan's infrastructure. And in my mind, at least, infrastructure is the cornerstone of a modern functioning society. And we see tremendous value in building a statewide culture of asset management so that all communities can be better stewards of their systems. And MIC coordinates the infrastructure policy and the education and data sharing and other things of that nature, technical assistance across Michigan's approximately 1,700 local units of government. And that's spanning across all the different assets. So, your roads to energy, broadband, and water as well. And our focus is on really practical statewide strategies that improve quality of life. And we can go ahead and go to the next slide. Thank you. So the hallmark of the mixed statutory responsibility is to develop and publish a 30-year integrated infrastructure strategy. And we released this in 2025. And actually, we are missing one of the strategies here, actions here. I missed that, so my apologies. But the document is the first comprehensive infrastructure plan for the state of Michigan, and thanks, Iain, and one of a kind in the United States. And this strategy really aims to address challenges related to the aging infrastructure and limited asset management knowledge, extreme weather events, all that, and other pressures we see on our infrastructure. And our goal is to improve the state's infrastructure practices and policies and excuse me, and systems in ways that strengthen communities and support a strong economy and really safeguards our natural resources to ensure high quality of life for generations to come. And we believe that Michigan has a unique opportunity to lead the nation in integrated asset management by fostering coordination and collaboration across both the public and private infrastructure sectors. But we also need help in doing so. With more than 3,500 infrastructure asset owners statewide, and we have a small staff, and really our success relies on the power of our partnerships among those public and private owners and elected officials, consultants, contractors, you name it, all really working together to address complex infrastructure challenges due to the underfunding, deferred maintenance, and all those other issues. But what I really want to highlight is the first action that's on your screen here, which is the importance of establishing a culture of asset management in Michigan. And we believe that begins with the valuing of education, and MIC is committed to providing that accurate, trusted information that supports effective infrastructure decision making and empowers communities to better understand how infrastructure really shapes our daily lives. And we can go ahead and go to the next slide, Rowan, please. Excuse me. Okay, so online training learning advice. So during early outreach meetings and listening sessions across the state before the MIC was even formed, when it came to our pilot and commission, we consistently heard from communities across Michigan that while asset management makes sense in theory, many did not know where to begin. So all this sounds good, but what are the next steps? What do we do? And communities shared that they lacked some of that basic knowledge and asset management knowledge and tools, and even had issues just locating assets. I think Aaron already mentioned some of that in Alaska. And to really help address these challenges and to ensure asset owners were better prepared, we launched the Asset Management Champions Program in 2021. I believe it was in 2021. And this program really equips infrastructure practitioners with essential tools to build practical asset management awareness within their organizations. And the foundation of the program is the Asset Management Readiness Scale, which is a self-assessment tool that's designed to help infrastructure owners really understand and advance their asset management proficiency across all asset classes. And the program, as you can see here, really features a comprehensive curriculum delivered through asynchronous modules, which is extremely helpful, facilitated discussions and peer engagement, which was talked about earlier as something that was really helpful for folks to really gravitate towards the material. And as participants progress through the modules, they gain exposure to asset management standards and practices while forming a statewide network of leaders dedicated to improving Michigan's critical infrastructure systems. And one of the things that Iain says is when it comes to the learning pods over here to the right of your screen, is he calls that the secret sauce of the program, or where the magic happens and all of those different things. But he's right. And during these breakout groups, we bring together finance professionals, engineers, your planners, your GIS specialists, your DPW directors, I mean, you name it. It's these conversations that that silos start to break down, and participants begin to see issues from new perspectives while developing a shared language as well. So the Asset Management Champions Program is really a pillar of our success, and continues to be an incredible resource for communities across our state. We can go to the next slide, please. All right, here we go. So graduates of the program really benefit from several different Michigan-specific advantages. So through our state's environmental agency, we call EGLE, Environment, Great Lakes, and Energy, or other folks as DEQs, or I don't know what it's called in Alaska, but drinking water and wastewater operators can earn continuing education credits. Additionally, if participants are current enrollees in the program or graduates and have an asset management plan in place, they can earn points to help them potentially leverage federal dollars for low interest loans and grants, and those funds can really support communities in building and upgrading and replacing critical water infrastructure, including wastewater, treatment plants, sewer systems, and the like. So to date, we are really excited to say that we have more than 800 graduates of the program. So once again, 800 graduates of the program, representing approximately 70 of Michigan's 83 counties, and you can see, and we have 2 peninsulas, so there's a lot of outreach that has to happen in order to get to that number. So we're really proud about that, and obviously you can see here too the 96% of graduates feel ready to become a champion. So really just equipping folks in order to move forward asset management activities within their organizations is something that the training has done, and we've gotten extreme amount of great feedback of the program. We can go to the next slide, please. Okay, now while the Asset Management Champions Program, the champions have found it extremely valuable, of course, they also came to us and said, hey, like, we need a shorter training option tailored specifically for elected officials and others responsible for allocating resources or influencing, public infrastructure outcomes. And MIC recognizes the critical role that these leaders play in shaping and implementing effective infrastructure strategies. So in response to that, we partnered with icInfrastructure to develop Asset Management Essentials, which is you can view it as a concise e-learning program designed specifically for that audience of elected officials and decision makers. And we also have a companion primer also titled Asset Management Essentials, which is available for download on our website. And we launched this just in late April. And as of this week, I believe, I checked this week, the primer has been downloaded more than 180 times. We've had approximately 45 to 50 folks enrolled into the e-learning course. So a lot of headway has been made with these offerings here. And the Champions program has been anywhere between 20 to 25 hours, and the e-learning for the Asset Management Essentials is approximately 2.5 hours. So we wanted to really meet elected officials and decision makers where they're at in a sense of time, and making sure that we offered a shortened version of the course. We can go to the next slide, please. And what is next for the MIC? Now that I look at this slide, maybe I packed it too much here, but I'll kind of skip around a bit. So I guess what's front of mind for me right now is that we have engaged public and private infrastructure owners, elected officials, like I just mentioned, consultants, contractors, regional planning agencies, you name it. However, we have not yet engaged the ultimate benefactors are beneficiaries of Michigan's infrastructure, which is the public, in the ways that we necessarily aspire to. So to address this gap, we recently contracted with a consultant to help us deliver, excuse me, a citizen's guide to infrastructure systems. And with this guide, the guide is designed or will be designed to equip residents with the knowledge they need to participate confidently in local infrastructure conversations. And it will build understanding around infrastructure, funding, decision-making, asset management, levels of service, you name it. In the long term, we hope that residents will become more active supporters of well-managed infrastructure services and champion really future investments. And that's really the goal there for that, the Citizens Guide. Now, the utility accounting and rate making, we're also partnering with an academic institution to develop and deliver an introductory course on rate making with a focus on fiscal management for water utilities. And the course and it's going to be a workshop, so it's a couple days workshop, half days. It will look to really explore the current state of water infrastructure in Michigan, examine rate design considerations, and address emerging challenges facing the sector. So this training will happen in September. Really looking forward to that. And speaking of September, we have the Integrated Infrastructure Conference. Is a conference that we host biannually, and we have that coming up in September 2026. And we view this conference as a real opportunity to bring together stakeholders from across Michigan to, as I mentioned before, break down silos and build relationships that foster future collaboration and all those asset classes together, maybe even coming up with integrated approaches to asset management and capital development. So, and lastly, I'll leave you here talking about MyDig, speaking about capital development here. So MyDig so let me back up and say, we also held outreach sessions back in 2018, 2019, and a lot of those conversations revealed a strong interest in the benefits of collaboration on infrastructure projects, but they also highlighted that the tools needed to support such collaboration were lacking. So with that barrier identified, the MIC really took a leadership role in facilitating coordination efforts through a planning tool designed to really unlock opportunities for coordination. So the vision really for MyDig is to help Michigan plan better, dig once, and achieve more, where we can stretch our infrastructure dollars and maximize return on investment for Michigan's communities. So we're looking to standardize a process that has historically happened in an ad hoc way. And this is really like a free infrastructure planning tool that leverages GIS to support that coordination across the state. So with that said, I will stop talking now because I see we're at 5:48 here, or I'm at 5:48. Sorry about that. I'm at 5:48. I'll stop there and give. I don't know if I'm passing it to Iain or Rowan. I think there's a little bit of time for Q&A here.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, both. Really appreciate that. Great to get that rundown of what's been happening in your regions and how you've been using asset management to help move things forward. Really appreciate you sharing your stories. So yeah, we've got a little bit of time for Q&A. So I've seen some come in the Q&A box, so everyone can access that down the bottom and feed in your questions there, and I'll work them through with the team here. So first one, money and funding. How have you guys funded these programs? I know you've both funded them a little bit differently. So what's that process been like? Erin, do you want to chat about how you've sought funding for it? And then Nathan, you can talk about how it's worked in Michigan.
Yeah, I can take a started off. We have gotten grant funding for the entire program so far, and it's been a patchwork. I think year one was probably the smoothest. We had a really flexible technical assistance grant that we were able to to use fully for the program, which I'm still incredibly grateful for because it really kind of laid the foundation for this. Year two, we did try to expand what we were offering, and so we did fold in some other federal grant funds. And each of those required us to kind of focus in on a specific asset class, like water, wastewater was kind of where we started, a little bit of transportation. But I think icInfrastructure has been great to work with to still have it be broadly applicable and still super meaningful across all the asset classes. And then this current year, I will say, you know, it's sprinkled throughout several different federal grants. Also, we're the subrecipient of another grant. So yeah, it still has been grant funded. I will say that I am getting better and better at working with icInfrastructure as we kind of think through this, so we can be a lot more strategic in how we do that, and really, I think, increase the impact of this work. So remain incredibly grateful for that. We have started talking about like what might this look like if grant funding were to decrease and need were to remain and probably increase, and perhaps there's a way of having a participant charge and kind of look through it that way, but mostly grant funding at this point.
Nice. Thanks, Erin. And so that's from the Municipal League's perspective. Nathan, things are a bit different over in the east with Michigan. So what's that funding route been like with Mick and the Treasury?
Yeah, our path is a bit different because we are a legislative body and we are housed within the Department of Treasury. So our funding comes from appropriations. Now, with that being said, we have been fortunate enough to have multiple governors who have seen value in this work. So that investment has been good for us. And also we have a council, it's an actual council of experts as well, who really value the Asset Management Champions program and a lot of this work to really move forward asset management practices across the state, and have allowed us to move this program forward in so much good infrastructure work across the state to remove barriers to educational resources and things of that nature. So yeah, that's our path. It's been pretty straightforward through appropriations, and that also has its challenges too, because we go from fiscal year to fiscal year, and we'll find out our budget. Actually, we have one coming up soon that ends pretty soon here, but so that's a year by year thing we go by as well.
Nice. Thanks, Nathan. Okay, a couple more questions. I'll feed one of these to each of you, and then I think we'll wrap up from there. So one question for Nathan is around like the mix of resources. So how important it is have you found it to have, it's not just an e-learning course, it's not just like a workshop, it's not just a conference, it's having this mix of resources. Like, how important has that been from what you've seen over the years, and how people are absorbing that content?
Yeah, one of the things that's important to me is making sure that we meet people where they're at. So when it comes to, let's say, elected officials, for example, I can't tell you how many times I've been told by champions saying, like, yeah, they're not going to go through 25 hours of training. So you need to actually create a vehicle for them to be able to gravitate towards this information. So like, what can you do about that? So that's when we connected with icInfrastructure and said, can we do a concise version of the Champions program? And can we meet the elected officials where they're at? Because they're really making a lot of these decisions and where the dollars go. So that was one thing there. And when it comes to a lot of the other ways that we disseminate information, we are cognizant that we have just really great partners as well. We reach out to our partners and say, like, hey, maybe in this region, is there a way that folks maybe receive information better than others? We really are rely on a lot of our partners for progress in a lot of different ways, and also so communication is one of those ways too. So we've taken off and recently with our social media as well, and kind of getting the word out on a lot of what we have going on, from the conference to all the educational resources that we have. So from social media standpoint to making a primer document to an e-learning course to, I mean, we're trying to disseminate that information in all different directions, and that's been a successful model thus far.
Nice. Thank you, Nathan. Appreciate that rundown. Okay, so conscious of the time here, and I know it's the end of the day for everyone, so I'm just going to wrap it up here. I've got one closing slide, and then we'll have everyone on your way. Move this over here. Pull this up here. So yeah, thanks very much for joining us for this session. There will be a recording available for anyone that wants to pass this on to their peers. So we'll share that out with everybody afterwards. If anyone's interested in learning more about training in their region and how we could help, please just drop me a note. My email's in the chat there for people to connect with us. Also, if you head to our website, there is a free training course we have on our website. It's all around the perfect storm of infrastructure. That's largely what Rowan talked about in the first part there. So that's a resource that anyone can access. You can follow us on LinkedIn. The icInfrastructure company page is where we're sharing out a lot more of our upcoming courses that are coming up. And lastly, we will be at the Institute of Asset Management's conference this fall. So this year it's happening in Toronto. So we'll be there if anyone wants to catch up with us in person. But yeah, thank you very much for taking the time for being with us today. Really appreciate everyone joining us and learning about asset management training in regional context. Thanks very much.